Now the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
All right, it's the 419 powered by WGTE, and we have a live audience. We are out at Lucille's at Toll House. We need some noise from the live audience. Acknowledge that you're there.
All right, thank you.
We're out here with the Lucas County Economic Development Corporation. We're known as the Glass City, and there's a reason for that. And I feel like there's no better person to explain that to us than Kyle Sword from Pilkington. Kyle, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
A round of applause for Kyle. So I guess we'll start there with why are we called the Glass City?
All right, so first to clarify, I'm not from Toledo originally. I'm from Akron, Ohio, and then I moved around the country and moved to Toledo. But I am like a full-on OG glass nerd, and so like I like all the stuff about glass. And I've been in the glass industry for a long time, and I do like all the history on that sort of stuff. So I'm
Ladies, he's spoken for.
yeah, everybody loves a big glass nerd.
100%.
Everybody loves a glass nerd. So yeah, but I have had that question before. It's like, well, why are we the Glass City? And it starts with actually pretty basic stuff. Like, so back when Toledo was getting founded in terms of like the industrial or the revolution of like around 1890s, 1880s, stuff like that. Gas was kind of growing. Oil production was growing here, and a lot of places were like, well, where should we like set up our headquarters and stuff like that? And at the time, when oil production was being produced here, natural gas was like a byproduct. And so we're like, well, we'll give gas away for free if you can move your company here. So like gas was essentially free or cheap. Proximity to a lot of like low-cost materials like sand and all those sort of things that you need to make glass was here. Proximity to shipping ports, and you know, whether it was the Erie Canal or the Great Lakes or the different road systems that were here, and then a good workforce. You know, so those four things is really what led a lot of glass companies to be like, we want to kind of get founded there. But to me, that's what started us. But what really makes us the Glass City, I would say, comes down to boldness and collaboration. Those two things in combination is really what, you know, made us kind of spiral off and have all these different things around glass.
What exactly, when you say boldness and collaboration, I mean, where does the boldness come from?
Yeah, so there's a couple. I've got a couple good stories that I like to put to. So one is, if you ever heard the story, you know, Libby was the first one to move here, and moved his business here from somewhere in New England. I don't remember exactly where, but in New England. Moved his business here, again, for all the reasons that I mentioned. But at the time, he was like, well, you know, I got this new bottling machine, and I got all this cool stuff that's happening, and I want people to be aware of it. So I want to make a big splash. And so he goes and says, what I want to do is go to Chicago to the World's Fair, and I want to build a functioning glass plant in the World's Fair, and then just showcase it, and people will be like, that's cool, I want to buy that. And everyone's like, that's insane. That's never going to work. And he's like, well, I don't care. I don't need your money then. And he spent $250,000 of his own money, which in translated to today's money is like $6 million. And he's like, screw it. I'm going to go to the World's Fair. I'm going to build a functioning glass plant, and I'm just going to do it and showcase it. And he was also pretty inventive and like a good marketer and stuff like that. So one of the things that he did was he was like, hey, you can come on a tour of this functioning glass plant in the World Trade Center or in the World's Fair, but also like you got to pay 10 cents. But if you pay the 10 cents, you can use that as a deposit towards one of the glasses or one of the things that we're doing. And like today, like a glass is a glass, nobody cares. But back then, like glasses, everything had to get hand blown, and so it was really expensive. It was really artisan, and it was just pricey to do, and it was really challenging to make a lot of those things. And so these inventions, these machines that he had, like cut the cost by like 90%, so that you could really churn out products. And so people, when they went in and they could take that 10 cents and use it to buy something, they were like, this is cool. I can make a business. And he more than paid for his initial investment. But that's kind of what started us. I mean, that's such a bold move. Never happened today. Nobody's going to be like, I'll take that much money out of my pocket and just do it. People just don't do that. So like that boldness was really the start of kind of where a lot of that came from.
And one of the first opportunities you brought real collaboration to this area, you and others working with you, was the Year of Glass in 2022. So you worked with arts organizations and other companies in the glass industry. Can you talk a little bit about what an example that was for the collaboration?
Yeah, so for those that don't know, 2022, the UN declared that the year of glass. And you're like, well, why? Who cares? But if you look at like all the things that the UN is trying to do, they have, I think on their website, there's like 27 different things. They're like, we want to provide clean water. We want to provide equality for women. We want to provide like an environment that children don't have to work, and all these different things. And then if you look at all the different glass products in the world, which by the way, there are thousands that you use every day, and you look through them, they're transparent. You look at windows, you think about your cars, you think about it as an enabling technology, your cell phone, for instance. You use these things all the time and just totally take them for granted. But when you take those 27 things that the UN is trying to do, and then you align them with what values does glass and all of its ways create it, it overlaps with like 22 of 27 of them. And so really people don't realize how many ways glass fully impacts your life. And so, I reached out to a bunch of my network here and I was like, why on earth aren't we, the Glass City, celebrating this? I go, the UN has served this up on a platter and we're not even gonna talk about it? I go, we gotta make parties, we gotta have celebrations, we gotta do tours, we gotta do this. And the great thing about this as an opportunity is, you think about like it is served up into our city as this opportunity, but the great thing is there's all these different glass companies that are here and we don't commercially compete with each other. Right. So like we make glass for buildings and cars and solar panels. OC makes bottles and containerware. Libby makes plateware. OC makes building materials. First Solar makes solar panel. All these different things that like we could probably just be working together. And as I start thinking about that, I go, think of the same pain points that we have as companies. Like I'm trying to solve, how do I get good people to want to work for us? How do I solve the environmental issues? How do I deal with sustainability? How do I deal? And I go, and not only am I trying to solve that, you guys are always trying to solve that too. Right. And I go, if we just work together, I bet that we'd probably do a better job. And not only are we not like, it's just not helping us to actually not work together, we're actually hurting ourselves. Right. Because we're all competing for the same person. So I'm like, I'll give you $1 extra an hour. And you go, I'll give you $3. I'll give you $4. I go, why don't we just get more people to want to move here? And then we can all hire people. Like, that'd be awesome. And the same thing when it comes to different technologies. If we just work together, instead of 10 of us spending $100 to deliver something in 2 years, we can spend $200 together and deliver it in 6 weeks. I go, we all save money faster, cheaper together. Sure seems like we should be working together, guys.
Kyle, we met and became friends around that time. I don't know if today's the day, but you actually have a unique perspective. You are pro-child labor, right? Do you want to talk about that today?
Well, first, I think friends is a very, very good stretch.
That's
right. I don't know if we would say friends.
It says it right here. I have to say this.
It's a stretch for most people.
Kyle S-word, am I saying your name correctly? Yeah. Yeah, tell us more about glass.
Yeah.
The story of fiberglass is certainly entrenched in our state's history as well. At the risk of continually putting you on the spot to just know this off the top of your head, but that was an innovation by accident, was it not?
Yeah, the story, and again, there are other people that are maybe even in the room that could tell the story better than I can.
Look at these people, they're not in this room.
But OC has a fantastic story.
Yeah.
So imagine you're a company. Again, the other thing I like to say, think about this stuff today, and what would we do today? So OC back at the time, they had just invested basically all of their money. They took all of the eggs and put them into the basket of, we're going to create all these machines that make bottles, and it's like going to churn out, and it's going to be amazing. And then guess what happens? Prohibition and the Great Depression. And now they're sitting on all their money is in bottling equipment. And they go, whoops, that wasn't great, And I think like, what would we do as companies today? And like, we'd hem, we'd haw, but they're like, we got to do something. So like they said, let's figure something out. So if you've ever seen like glass block windows, that was actually out of necessity. They're like, we got to sell something, and these bottling machines can do that. Let's get in the construction world. We'll make glass block windows. And they're like, cool. But except what would happen is when they would go to put them together, water would get in between them, and then your glass block window would look like an aquarium. And they're like, it's rotting the walls. That's not great. We should do something. So they had literally like a PhD guy and a lab tech and somebody else, and they were like, just figure it out. Make a seal that does the thing and it works, right? And so they had, have you ever seen like those baby shoes that you can take bronze and atomize them? Sure. You know, this is an old school, it's probably before your time, but it's an old schooly thing they used to do.
I know what babies are, Kyle. Yeah, I'm familiar. We had
Familiar.
babies. Yeah.
I'm familiar. So what they did was they took like that atomizer gun and they took glass and they jammed it into it. And they were trying to figure out how to seal glass blocks together. But what came out was like this stringy material, and they're like, oh, that didn't work. And they're like, well, I wonder if this stringy material could do anything. And then they're like, well, actually, like that.
And they tasted it.
And they tasted it, and they're like, that tastes horrible.
That's right.
You know?
The first one.
Right.
And that's how Matt was made.
Yeah. Right.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, it was very close to that. So they're like, well, this could actually compete with rock wool. Rock wool at the time was the way they made insulation was they literally took like rocks and stones, they melted them, and they sprayed them. And you remember when insulation used to be super, super itchy? That's because it was made of rock wool, and like if you breathed it in, you probably died in 9 minutes, and like all these things that were really bad. But they were like, this would be really cool. And then they were like, well, how do people know that it's our stuff versus somebody else? They're like, what if we just color it pink? That'd be cool. We could do that. Like that industry, like they're like a $9 billion company that got started out of an accident because like out of necessity, they're like, shit, we got to do something. Like we have to make money. Let's go do something. Like that's how it was, out of necessity, out of hustle, and out of just like figure it out. I think if we had to do that today, we wouldn't invent fiberglass as an industry. Like, as not just, I'm not picking on anybody from OCE, but it's like systemic of our society. Like, we now are like, well, what about the lawyers, and what about the this, and what about the here's all the reasons that we can't do it. But they're like, we're not going to eat tomorrow if we don't do this. Figure it out.
But that's that innovation piece, right? I mean, that's part of it is like innovation out of necessity.
Yep.
But some of it is like when you have a culture of innovation, you're allowed to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And we don't really encourage mistakes anymore.
Yeah.
And so I guess as we think about this and start to kind of look to today and look to the future, I mean, what do we need to do to allow us to start making mistakes again?
Yeah, it's a good question. So one thing I think is these sort of like innovation hubs and cultures of like just get people to try stuff, and if you don't take as much risk on, well, then you can also like try more stuff and maybe be successful, right? So I think one of the things you have to do is you have to like figure out how do you minimize some of that risk. Part of it is just like it's a shared risk. So it's like, okay, well, if we all try this and it doesn't work, and then we're going to fire Matt afterwards. Like, that's great for everyone else.
That is an option.
Yeah, I mean, we can do that if you guys want. But Matt's not going to be like, I'm not raising my hand to do that. That sounds like crap for me. But if it's like, hey, let's all try this, and either it works, great, we can all benefit, or let's not, and okay, well, then we won't do it. But if you try stuff and you all accept that group risk, everybody's going to be more on board to try it and do stuff. And really, that kind of goes back to our roots. I was at a UT panel recently. It was about a year ago. And they're like, what does industry need from us? And the recommendation I said was, I think we should just fire all of our lawyers and hire a third grader to write all of our IP. Because, like, honestly, like, for all the lawyers, and if my lawyers are here, I apologize. Like, I don't want to get fired tomorrow. Yeah. And I think our lawyers are great, just for the record.
Absolutely.
But I go, it slows us down because we're all worried about, it's like a sum zero game. Well, if I do this, then you do that. And then I go, but meanwhile, like, that's not what's kicking our teeth in. What's kicking our teeth in is the group that's across the pond that's just like all in, working together and doing it 10 times faster than us. I go, and we're still talking about like, what could we do? Like, let's just go do.
Let me ask you a question. This is potentially unfair, Kyle, but do you think that there is some connective component to where the innovation happened and the fact that this is in the Midwest? And obviously there's geographic components of this, like a river.
Right.
But why do you think this place, USA, generated this sort of innovation or has sustained it?
Yeah, so I do think that it has to do with the people that were involved at the time.
Sure.
They were all just really good innovators, but they also weren't afraid to like go out and do it. So like after this invention at OC, they're like, let's go get it, let's go hustle, and let's go figure out how to make some money. Because it wasn't OC at the time. Corning and Owens actually collaborated after that, and they created a new company.
What did they call the company?
I think it was called Owens Corning Fiberglass Company or something like that.
Thank God you're here, Kyle.
Yeah, I pull all the pieces together. Big picture.
Real dot connector.
Big picture. So, but I think of another example is like, Edward Ford at the time, we started our plant here in Rossford in 1897, and we made polished plate glass for the commercial market. So we were importing it from Europe at the time. And you need polished plate glass as one of the 3 elements to build skyscrapers. You need air conditioning, you need elevators, and you need polished plate glass to deal with wind loads at high elevations. So they're just killing it in the commercial market. He's making tons of money. And Owens and Libby got together and they said, well, that's not really our jam. Let's work on this Colburn process. It's a vertical draw. It makes a thinner piece of glass, but you don't have to polish it. So it's way cheaper. It won't deal with the wind loads, but like people will want it in the windows for their houses. So they did that in 1917, and they're crushing it in the residential market. Okay. And in 1931, those two merged, so that's what became Libby Owens Ford. And, these guys are crushing it in residential. These guys are crushing it in commercial. And they're like, well, let's get together and, do this thing, and let's kick butt, and let's do it. That just doesn't happen today. So they were like, let's go do it. And at the time, that was in today's dollars, it would be $1 billion deal. So it was massive. And then you think about what they then did during World War II, and it was loads of innovation, and they just spread, and they had a shotgun approach and went every direction. They just weren't terrified and afraid to go do. And so they were like, let's try this, let's try that. That didn't work. Boom, don't do that again. So they just did stuff. Sure. And that is, if you want real innovation, you can't be afraid of failure. You can't be afraid of who gets credit. You just have to go do stuff. And if it's not working, do something else, but just do. We're
going to take a break in a couple of minutes. We're going to have Matthew Kirian from NOIC come on up and talk about kind of what collaboration looks like today and what kind of the future looks like. And then, Kyle, we'll have you come back and join us for another conversation as we really look to the future and figure out what this looks like. One of the things that we do with our program here on WGTE, I love we get a chance to meet great, passionate people that are making our community better. There's no question Kyle is doing that. One of the other things we like to do is play a little game that Gretchen came up with.
I did not.
This is Gretchen's idea. She didn't come up with the name. She called it the 419 quiz. But this is the audience participation part of the show where I'm going to need your help that you're all going to shout Gretchen's wacky quiz. All right? You'll know when it's time. Yeah. Just play along. It'll be great, okay? All right. It's now time for
Gretchen's wacky quiz.
All right,
just a bunch of dead eyes out there, just loving it. Yeah, Matt and Josh, we want to apologize in advance for the sucking the energy out of this room.
I'm going to ask 4 rapid-fire questions. Gretchen's going to ask for your favorite thing in or about Toledo, and then you and Matt are going to work together to describe Toledo in exactly 9 words. Not 8, not 10, 9 words. All right.
It's 419.
If Toledo had a superhero named Captain Glass, what would their superpower be?
Their superpower would be to transform anything that it's involved in.
I like it. You're forced to sing karaoke right now. What song are you choosing?
Living on a Prayer, Bon Jovi.
God bless you.
If
Had that right? You just had that in the hopper.
I don't mess around with that.
Actually, no matter what the question was, it was going to be living on a prayer. Yeah.
Or the Gambler, Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
Either way, I could go both ways.
Brother. Yeah.
The
Now
Gambler?
you're happen. Yeah. You hear that, Will?
If aliens landed in Toledo and you could show them only one place, where are you taking them?
Probably a glass plant, because lots of fun stuff happens at a glass plant.
Yeah. When the children are working.
All right. Now for the serious question. Would you rather fight 1 horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Such an obvious answer.
And there's no lovemaking involved.
Well, that changes my opinion.
I thought it would.
So, I'm probably killing all the 100 small things because I'm big and tough and can do that, so it's fine.
Yikes.
What a terrifying answer.
Yeah.
I don't know what I wanted him to say. In fairness.
I've murdered lots of small
okay,
things
Kyle,
before.
that's good. This is the group that
On advice of
Sesame
your
Street's
lawyer
on the block.
again,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
What's your number 1 most favorite thing, or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo or the region?
Well, the metro parks would clearly be high on my list, Matt. I like coming in the summer when there's Mud Hens games and there's just so much life in the city and stuff like that. I also like out in one of the metro parks where there's a brew pub and you can walk around and go on a bike ride and stuff like that. We do have a lot of nature and that sort of stuff. But I also like when the sun's out, which is pretty fun. So it's good days.
One of my smartest friends answers, I like when the sun's out. God bless you, Kyle.
I do my
Talk
best.
about innovation.
That's innovation.
All right, man, this is a kind of tough portion here. We need 9 words to describe the city and or region that make it what it is to you.
I don't know if I can count to 9, but I will try.
I'll do that for you.
All right,
Let's fire
so
away.
The American dream is still alive and well today.
He's prepared.
Done. My man.
Good
Man
job,
on a
Kyle.
prayer.
Thank you.
Big round of applause for Kyle Sword. Kyle, thanks for joining us. We're going to take a
Thanks,
break.
guys.
When we come back, Matthew Kirian from the Northwestern Ohio Innovation Consortium will join us here on the 419, powered by WGTE.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at witroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Now more than ever, people need to make sense of the world and our community. They need to understand the issues that affect us right here. I'm Donnie Miller, host of To The Point, and each week we take on tough issues with a local focus and deliver honest, balanced discussions. Join me Fridays at 8:30 p.m. as we get to the point.
To the Point with Donnie Miller, airing the last 3 Fridays of each month at 8:30 p.m. on WGTE HD.
Take WGTE with you, wherever, whenever, with the newly redesigned WGTE app. Watch our locally produced TV programming and your favorite PBS shows. Listen to FM 91 Live, stream our podcasts, and stay in touch with NPR News. Plus, get access to PBS Kids, great entertainment when you're on the go. All on demand in the palm of your hand. Download the WGTE app on the Apple App Store or Google Play today.
All right, welcome back to the 419. We're on the road at Lucille's at Toll House with the Lucas County Economic Development Corporation, talking about innovation, talking about collaboration, and we're talking now with Matthew Kirian from the Northwestern Ohio Innovation Consortium, or NOIC. Matthew, what is NOIC?
Fantastic question. This is actually incredibly opportune, as we keep hearing quite a bit that same question. What exactly is that? High level from a tax code perspective, it's a 501c6 for all the lawyers out there. Apparently there's a lot here tonight.
One follows me around.
That's what we look like on paper. I'll say in operation, though, we're a fairly gritty R&D shop. We're trying to take incredibly complex problem statements, put them into the hands of university researchers, small businesses, family-owned manufacturers, great suppliers, neighbors of you guys, and turn out real value. It's a lot of fun. So,
Who are the members?
Another great question. So we've got some of the great glass companies that Kyle just talked about. All the Owens family, what was Michael Owens doing? He was starting an incredible amount of companies, it sounds like. We've got all of them. We've got Libby. We've got First Solar. We just added Pepsi. Been a lot of fun. Pepsi has brought a brand flavor to the mix that is, no pun intended, a lot of fun.
Manufacturing not going out of style. Why is that so entrenched and so important to our region?
It's fascinating. When you look at our gross regional product every year from a...
Which I do.
We look at, we love numbers. Matt and I, we're big numbers guys, all the Matts in the room. But it's about 30 to 32% every year GRP, gross regional product is what Matt measures, is manufacturing. It always has been. We think that's the future. We think that's incredibly important to what jobs we turn out. About 27% of the jobs are manufacturing. This is what we do. Everything that Kyle just explained, leads to the kind of jobs that we see, the kind of opportunities we see. So we're just trying to fuel the future of that.
You start your work with a problem statement. What does progress look like?
You try to really live in the problem statement, and a lot of that comes from the shared problems that we all have. A lot of our members were trying to do things on their own. I was at OI for a while when this was all getting started up, and we started to see that as a region, we're not working together enough. We used to. Everything that Kyle just talked about is what we used to do around here. Over time, public companies divide. They start to say that we can do everything in-house. But when everybody joins together, you can do things for a quarter of the cost and a third of the time. That's the impact.
What role does all levels of government play in NOIC, if any role?
Just incredible. I mean, the support that we've gotten from every government leader, economic development partner, corporate leader, you name it, everybody tends to line up and say, what can I do? And that's what's been so exciting and a lot of fun for us is we start to see that the capacity of this region is so extraordinary. The lobbying support that happens without us even knowing in DC. I just heard about a great proposition that was happening with Marcy Captor's team on behalf of us. So the support's incredible, and people tend to not make fun of us other than Matt.
Do you want to take a moment and just call out the least helpful elected official that's in the room right now?
I can't name one. I can't even begin to describe someone that would be. The support has been positive.
Yeah.
Matt Killam, would you like to?
Well played. Yeah, trust me, everyone knows. At the risk of teeing this up in a total softball, there's been several wins that I'm sure you want to brag about. What are those, or is there a particular aha moment for you, Matthew, that's noteworthy?
Absolutely. We just, we're big numbers guys. So we like to say that we're about 33% of the time is done. It's a 4-year grant. We're the first innovation hub funded by the state of Ohio. We're about 28% accomplished on our metrics so far. So we're just behind the timing metric. But I got to say, it's the people. Being able to develop young engineers into leaders, being able to give opportunities to great family businesses in the UT Family Business Center, for example. It's just a lot of fun. It's hard to measure that level of connection, but I think that's really what defines when you build ventures together and you go after things. It's fun.
So you are following Kyle, who's a big business corporate monster and negligent, your words. A smaller family-owned business with 10 to 15 employees, what is their role in this? And I know we're talking about being bold and innovative. So to some degree, lasting is bold and innovating. But what is the role of the smaller agency in this future, in this vision?
Well, the drama alone is awesome. I mean, if you want to find drama, find a family business because they'll bring you every problem with every divorce you could ever imagine. But
that's a different show.
That's probably not this show.
Yeah.
I was just one of our members, Pepsi, took us down to a fantastic conference in Miami, Florida. Terrible. I mean, the weather was just horrible, but a lot of fun. There was a family business known as Gallo Wines was there, and they were saying, if you want to get something done, don't give it to a large global company. Give it to a family business, and then you'll be shocked how much risk they'll take on, how fast it gets done. They get it done yesterday, and then all the lawyers are very concerned that night.
We're talking about Matthew Carrion from the Northwest Ohio Innovation Consortium. How did you get into this role? How did you come to join this organization?
Oh man, there was one late evening in an office. I think totally fine. Everything was fine. One of my old bosses, Roger Smith, who's our president of NOAC now, great guy. I think he had just talked to the OI CFO at the time, who said, "Why don't we collaborate in this region anymore? Why don't we work together? I'm on every board in the region. I can't get anything done. Roger, can you go figure something out? Start a nonprofit. Go get it going." And I was working late. Roger walked by my desk and he said, "You know about this public kind of stuff. I don't like talking. I don't like being on podcasts. Can you help? Can you do that kind of stuff?" And I said, "Sure. I'm here working late, and I would like to get out of this office at some point. Is there a podcast I can go on?" And he said, "Well, do you like to write grants?" "Well, sure." So here we are.
And your background is in what, Matthew?
So I have an engineering background, also certified glass nerd. Just love everything about Glass City. I'm from here originally, and I moved back for family, as I think everybody does.
Sure.
Fortunately for the people that moved back, and got here, got recruited, got into OI, merged into this, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Another thing that you've talked about or NOIC is working on is workforce development and trying to get young people into the industry. And the message about what manufacturing looks like today, as opposed to sort of the stereotypical thing that people may think of when they think of working in manufacturing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I love to hear people ask if it's still as dirty as it always was, and I say, it could be, I guess, but it depends on what manufacturing you're talking about. A lot of what you see today is it's working on a computer in a clean room. I mean, it's so different than you'd ever imagine. The steel plants of Gary, Indiana of yesterday are probably not what you're going to be looking at today. So many of the companies around here, they've done such an incredible job to attract smart talent and bring them here to do high-level intelligence work. A lot of manufacturing is intelligence-based now, and it's quickly evolving into that realm, and we're trying to harness that.
When will you consider NOIC a success as you're getting towards the end of 50% through the grant? How will you know you've done what you set out to do? What will people be able to see your experience?
That's a great question. I think.
What was it? I mean, it was a long question. And that's good.
I like to think that it's hard to see it. It's hard to experience it.
Sure.
Like people often say, like, well, we go and do these talks, and people say, okay, I'm ready. How do I get involved? Sign me up today.
Yeah.
And we're like, do you want to apply for a corporate position, and then we can sign you up for a project, kind of a thing. It's hard to get involved in this directly. I think success is the mindset. I think it's listening to every story Kyle just told, and then tomorrow morning waking up and realizing you're going to commit to excellence, and you are going to go and do that thing that maybe your grandpa did that you're going to replicate, or that story that you heard. You're going to entrench that in your mind and really commit to that. I think that's success. Metrics-wise, I can talk all day about numbers.
Talk to me about the kind of the timeline of a project or a solution for you guys. You identify a problem, or somebody brings a problem to you. What is that, on a calendar? What does that look like?
Yeah, it's very quick. We like to think that's our kind of competitive advantage. Why do companies sign up for this? Why is this really so appealing? It's on the scale of months. We're looking at problems, and we're trying to put great partner companies and universities on board to turn things around in 6 months. If we want to figure out a 4% energy gain on a fiberglass furnace in Del Mar, New York, we're trying to do that in the next 6 months.
Have you ever been to Denmark, New York in fall?
I've been there in the fall. I don't know how you know that.
Picturesque.
Don't believe anything he says.
Yeah, I was barely listening.
Talk to me about, I mean, obviously we're here tonight as guests of the Lucas County Economic Development Corporation. Talk to me about the role that they and other partners have in success with NOIC.
Well, if they want to do something valuable any day, I'm waiting. But pretty soon.
Wow!
Shot across the bar. Other handsome Matt.
More, I love.
Guess who's paying his own bar tab tonight?
That's very
right.
fair.
Crack that steely grin of Hireman.
I love the I always joke that on the corporate side, the word alignment is like the most cringe word. You'd be like, oh God, I got to get aligned again. Like I just had a Teams meeting last half hour to get aligned. But I think what Matt's trying to do in the county, bringing myself here, bringing Kyle Sword here, getting these conversations together in a comfortable way, like this is pretty accessible. That's Toledo. That's what we do around here.
That's what I was going to ask you, at the risk of just beating this into the ground. You mentioned moving back here. Why is Northwest Ohio, Toledo, the area, uniquely positioned to be competitive potentially again?
Yeah, we study so many other regions. We're advised by Akron. We looked a lot at Madison, Wisconsin. Plenty of areas that are nowhere near as beautiful as Toledo. But it really is the connectivity. It's the ability to come to something like this and find the innovator doing the thing and say, I want to get into that, or I want to get into something like that. How do I do that? It's incredibly welcoming from what I've seen. I'm biased because I'm from here, but you come back here and you say, I'm coming to this event, I'm going to go and meet that guy, and I'm going to try. I think that's done here better than most places. I spent a lot of time in South Bend, Indiana. People there do it too, but it's just not as good.
My man.
All right, Matthew, it's now time for Man.
Yeah, man.
It got
I'll tell you what,
worse.
there's no glass block coming out of this group. I can tell you
They're
that.
getting tired.
All right, let's try that
Getting
one more
tired at
time.
6:30, Matthew, for
I know I threw you a curveball. You weren't ready for it, but now we are. Let's do
Also a
it.
really stupid name.
Well, your parents chose it. It's now time for.
A rare zinger by, yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry. Thank you all.
4 rapid fire questions for me. Gretchen's asking for your favorite thing in or about Toledo, and then you and Matt will work together on 9 words.
WGTE, you're getting canceled tonight.
All right. If Toledo renamed one street after you, what street should it be?
What is the current street, or what is the
Answer
new
the
name?
question, Matthew.
The new street name.
No follow-up questions. Okay, clear.
Yeah.
The new street name would be where collaboration meets commercialization.
That's not going to be good on GPS.
Boulevard.
Boulevard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right.
Drive.
Now that brings it home for me.
Yeah, otherwise I can't finish the address. What's a completely useless talent that you have?
On-demand backflips.
On demand right now.
I mean,
I thought that would be hilarious, but I'm not going to do it tonight.
yeah, okay.
Well,
All right.
we can't believe you.
No, I don't need to die
Yeah.
in the middle of the show.
Why not?
You can do it after the show.
Only at weddings.
If you die after the show, that's fine. All right, if you could ban one word or phrase forever, what would it be?
Alignment.
Alignment. My man. Yeah.
All right, and then lastly, what's a food combination you love that other people think is weird?
Oh man. Definitely peanut butter pasta.
Peanut butter pasta. Why did you have to hesitate when that was in the chamber?
I was afraid at the response to that.
Yeah.
Okay,
That is
yeah.
a lot.
And you should have been.
That's a lot to lay on
That
people.
is a sociopath's answer. What in Jesus
Not
Christ?
proud of that.
You're going to have to backflip to get out of this.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah, good Lord. The sheriff's department is heading to your house tonight to find heads.
What's your
Talk to my
number
dietitian.
one most favorite thing, or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo?
Is it the peanut butter or the pasta? Why choose?
Probably both.
Yeah. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Best thing about Toledo, I'm very, very biased on this one, but I gotta say the family. Like, this is just it's home.
Oh my God.
It was a good answer.
Yeah.
It's
This is
not.
insufferable.
It's not the Metro Parks.
It's
I hate to
giving
say it.
back. You're like, oh, where's it is? Yeah.
He's upset that you were better looking and a nicer person.
And your family loves you.
You're not wrong. That's right. And you have a family that loves you and wants you to be with them.
I was told there'd be a vote tonight on the most handsome Matt in the room.
I can
don't
rank
know
them.
if
If
that
anyone
happens
wants the
now.
ranking.
I don't have to wait for that vote to come in. Matt,
All
did you ride your bike here tonight?
All right, 9
They
words.
didn't have that shirt in a medium?
9 words
Yeah.
to describe Toledo.
Sorry, just processing that last joke. I gotta go with
Take your time.
classy, glassy, accessible,
All right.
industrious, gritty, energy, collaboration, Matthews, and alignment.
Nice.
Yes,
Very
thank
nice.
you. Thinking the same thing. That's
Alignment.
my
There it is.
Way
All
to
right,
go,
Matthew
Matthew.
Kirian.
Give a big round of applause for arguably the nicest Matthew on the planet. I do want, let me see that book. You're
All right.
clapping for the Matthew. This is his journal. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Seven. This is what they found in that guy's house. This guy is a murderer. Do not go to your cars by yourself tonight.
You guys are comparing
This
notes.
is
I don't
fast.
reckon.
There's nothing written here, just so everybody can see.
Matthew Kirian with Noack. When we come back on the other side of the break, we'll have both Matthew and Kyle back on stage. I don't know why he's leaving. He has to come back right now.
Probably leaving to do some
We'll be back
volunteer
on the other
work.
side of the break. Here's the 419, powered by WGTE.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a T-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End. Pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Support for the 419 comes from Witro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WitroAdvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarta.com.
WGTE Public Media's Educational Services Department provides outstanding programs, services, and resources to enhance learning outcomes for students, educators, and learners of all ages. WGTE's Educational Services Department teaches parents, caregivers, and educators how to utilize educational media, children's literature, and engaging activities to help prepare young children for a happy, healthy, and bright future. From PBS Kids programming specifically designed to support the development and creativity of young children to individualized lesson plans, standards-aligned curriculum, professional development classes, community events, and family fun movie nights right here at WGTE. Our Educational Services Department shares the tools you need for you and your little ones to feel like you belong. WGTE Public Media, where you belong.
All right, welcome back to the 419 powered by WGTE. We've got a live audience out here at Toll House. We're at Lucille's with the Lucas County Economic Development Corporation, our friends from NOIC, Kyle Sword from Pilkington. Thanks so much for being here. We talked about the history of glass. We talked about innovation and collaboration, the work that you guys are doing today. What does the future of this look like, and what do you need from the folks in the room and the folks at home? So let's maybe start with the future.
Well, fortunately, that's all Kyle. We just ask him what to do next, and he says fire the lawyers. So I think that's what we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
You got your problems.
A clap.
You got your problem statement. You have a couple months to do it.
Yes.
All right, the future. What does it look like, gang?
All right, so I'll answer. So, because I like to talk about stuff, you may be aware of this, but to me, the future, like NOIC does pose a really good opportunity for us to collaborate, work together. It's mostly stuff around glass, but it's really a vision of like, look at this as a pilot. Look at this as an example of what we can do and how we're stronger if we work together. You then take that and like one of the things that we're doing around, let's say, recycling. The idea is, okay, well, let's prove out that this works. And if it works, you can copy this model in 75 cities around the country, and you can do this and you can do that. But if we can solve this one problem here, we could also solve different problems by having collaborative ideas of people that work together. And a lot of times when you start looking at this, again, I mentioned already that like you can do it for less money and faster if you do it together. What you then do, like we got seed money from the state of Ohio, and if you look, we're going to pay it back in terms of like, okay, well, look at the GDP growth, look at the number of jobs that we're creating, look at the innovations that we're driving, look at how we're growing our companies. What we're finding with this stuff is you get collaborative groups together and go, well, if we need this amount of seed money, look at how we pay it back and how fast we pay it back. Do you know how many people in different city, state, federal regions are trying to solve that exact problem? That are just like, we got our checkbook and we want to grow jobs. What do we do?
Right.
You know, I go, well, we have answers. Like we literally, like this is a good answer. Just get people together and say, let's solve this problem together. Boom, fast move. You can copy, paste, move it elsewhere. Let's go to the next problem.
At the risk of asking or giving you a chance to sort of state the obvious, walk me through some of the pitfalls that doesn't make that happen organically. Like, why are we shooting ourselves in the foot?
I'll take that one. Thank you.
That wasn't directed at you, Matt.
Okay. Well, if Kyle will allow it,
feel free.
You know, and on the you take a major problem like glass recycling. You know, we all hear about it. We kind of see it. It's fascinating. Is it really working? Do I put it in a MRF? You know, where is this really going? The companies are looking around the U.S. and trying to say, okay, what city can I try? Can I put investment into? Can I say, you know, partner with a local company and figure out how to do this? We do that here. We're putting the right projects in place to be able to say, here's what we tried, here was the failure, or here was the success, here's what we're going to try next, here's what it costs, here's the impact, the full sheet, so that they don't have to search and search and search for, what do I do? Where do I, these monumental global industry problems, where do I get started? We're trying to give the roadmap of you start here, and here's the impact.
Is NOIC doing anything to address companies' AI issues, or making plans for them to address how they're going to incorporate that into their companies?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one active project that's focused on furnace efficiency, so putting AI to work in the decisions that are made around operating furnaces. Seems pretty basic, seems like it already would be happening. It happens in other industries. It's not. We're trying to make it realistic, get it deployed, make those decisions so that people don't have to. It's incredibly more efficient. But on the people side too, we're helping people learn the glass industry through the help of AI tools, so they're learning with AI chatbots. Some of them we're developing through great local companies like Actual Reality Technologies,
Sure.
Others that are market-ready solutions. It's doing it with the help of the AI tools. You know, there's this guise of eliminating people around using AI. That's not what's happening in these heavy industries, these tough industries. It's people plus AI that are really making Toledo the next great city, the next great place to innovate.
Who do we benchmark against?
Good
when
question.
we look at other markets that are doing this well, other industries that are doing this well, who are the folks that you guys look at and say, all right, let's steal something from them?
We constantly look at polymers. You know, the Akron region is a great use case of being about 10 years ahead of us and trying to do this kind of a thing. You know, we're...
How is that possible?
And what is a polymer?
And what's a MRF? we could go back all the way to the beginning of this.
Yeah.
No, we even in my industry, which is men's hair care products, why is Akron ahead in so many things? Is it that they're eliminating, superfluous boundaries, or why are we constantly duking it out or wanting to aspire to be more like them?
I think one is that they do have a better collective of like the right number of people starting to talk, and they've just had the advantage of time. I think they started earlier than we did is all. So I don't think it's because we're incapable of...
Kyle, date me when you say they started before us. Are we talking about a decade? Is it 20 years? What is the...
I don't know. I think they stared about 20 years ago. I think that
Okay.
they've got...
so, yeah.
And they do some more aerospace stuff, which also gets a little bit more funding to do some of that stuff. So I think they have started a ways before.
Okay.
To me, though, when I look at what do we need to change, and this just isn't us, it's the whole Midwest.
Sure.
Paul Toth from Connect Toledo had a really good example of this. And he went to a venture capital friend of his and said, hey, how come, we got all this good stuff. How come venture capital money isn't flowing to us? And he said, one of the main reasons is when we start 10 companies in California, if 9 of them fail, the only thing you hear about is the one success. And he goes, we do it anywhere in the Midwest.
100%.
Anywhere in the Midwest, 9 of them succeed and 1 fails. All you hear about is the one failure. So the first thing is stop talking about negative. Start talking about the stuff that we're doing.
There you go. Yeah, it's worth a clap for sure.
Yeah. Start talking about the stuff that we're doing. And the thing that you have to do on this, and it's not just NOIC, it's not just one collaborative group, it's what do we all do together, is let's get groups that have common problems, and then let's all work towards a little bit better tomorrow. And if you can do that, dude, the sky is the limit. Like you, by next year, look at what you can accomplish. That to me is what our opportunity is. And then Gretchen, your question, if I remember, it was like 20 minutes ago. It was a long time ago, but around AI, right?
Oh.
AI, like believe it or not, running glass furnaces is kind of complicated. You know, the gas bill's $1 million a month, and there's 4,000 different inputs.
It's almost like you live in the old West End.
Like
tell me more, Kyle.
It's really difficult, and it might take 5 or 10 years to train people.
Sure.
AI gives you all this information, all this sort of stuff. and it makes it easier and better, and like it pays for itself. If we get the right thing for AI, we'll save money and pay for the AI work with the fuel savings of making the furnaces work. And then people go, oh, that saves money for glass companies. I go, really? I go, every single manufacturer in the world would use this technology. So our opportunity isn't, let's use AI as a nice toy to make glass companies better. How do we go, let's create universities that churn out graduates that are already skilled in every AI set that we want to use. We immediately have 10 companies that are like, yep, I'll hire you. Here's the stuff I want you to do. And then when they deliver on those results, they go, hey, I want to start my own business. Boom, here's a pile of cash, go do it. We can take this technology and leverage it into every technology around the world, every other industry, and we could be the center of excellence for this new emerging technology if we get out of our own way. If we just start doing.
I think it's a good time in the show to mention now the fact that Matthew is actually AI generated. So it works. It really, really works. Right?
They asked Copilot for a better version of Matt.
It's
and
that.
this is what-
Yes.
Less gray.
So funny.
A little bit younger.
All right, 2T Matthew.
Younger.
Less bitterness.
Yeah, okay, we got it. We don't
More
have
hair.
to round robin. Yeah, he does have more hair. Yeah. Let me get you a hat, Matthew. It'll change your life for the better.
You mentioned universities. Obviously, that's one role they can play. Are there other things that you need from our local universities to continue advancing the goals and the interest of NOAC?
Maybe just to celebrate, we just got one of the best glass science professors in the world.
Even I know about this.
Matt was just telling me about it at the University of Toledo. He's leading a program, a lab.
It's worth a clap for sure.
It's incredible the kind of expertise and support that he offers for this effort, for this energy. Bowling Green State University just replied with wanting to hire a complementary position. I mean, this spreads pretty quickly. So you pick a position, you hire an impact person, and then it spreads. I mean, this can move pretty quickly. I've been amazed by how well the universities work together when you force them to. It's really nice when there's a shared opportunity that's funded. That's what everybody gets together around. When this is funded, it's leading to jobs, it's leading to impact. Both universities say, Battle of I-75 is once a year. Let's get together.
So I get the obvious nature of collaboration wins, take down the barriers, let's be growth focused. But when the rubber meets the road, that's still really hard. So what are the first steps that we can take to try to build this culture and get in a habit of doing innovation, in a habit of doing collaboration?
In the habit of doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, one of the things is you break it down until it's a task that's manageable enough that you can do it, and you have to have a little bit of skin in the game. Like if the state just was like, here's a bunch of money, do some cool stuff, we'd be like, awesome. Yeah, we did all that stuff. But we're shelling out money to be like, I want to figure this out. I want to invest in this. So everyone should have a little bit of skin in the game. And then it should just be of like, what problem are we, whatever group it is, trying to solve? How do we do it together? How do we all have a little bit of skin in the game? So I think like, okay, let's just pick any street in downtown Toledo. 10 restaurants, 10 businesses, 10 whatever on that. They're all trying to get people. They're trying to get revenue. They're trying to get interest. They're trying to get enough buzz. It's like, okay, let's invent something. So you have to be willing to put a marker out to go, what if we did a festival on Thursday night and we invited people in and we did this and we did, like, if you just start that and everyone goes, I'm in for $1, I'm in for $2. By the time that you deliver that, you have delivered like this amazing, awesome thing that hundreds of people are like, why isn't there anything cool like this that I can go to? There are literally lines of people that would come to it. You got to start. So it's like, get a small enough thing, get enough people in to be like, I'm part of this, and we can solve these problems so much better, faster, and together, and cheaper if we just do it. We just have to go like, let's put a marker out, do it, go solve this problem. So that's the takeaway I give people is don't be negative. Talk about the wins and talk about how do you get a little bit better towards better tomorrow together. If you do those things, it's all good.
You may have just answered my next question, but I'll ask it anyway. Matthew, we'll start with you. If there's one message that folks walking away from this evening take with them, one message that folks that are watching this on WGT or listening to it on FM 91, what's the message you want them to walk away with?
Yeah, I think it's a legacy of boldness connected to a future of innovation and really, really gritty getting things done. I mean, the Toledo brand, the Midwest brand, we get things done. I think we've had an incredible amount of opportunity in the past. There's nothing but opportunity coming up in the future. It's your personal mindset. It's your dedication to getting up every day and doing that. I think it's a lot of fun. I think manufacturing is the art of craftsmanship. I think there's nothing but promise in the future. We have all the right people here to do it. It's just about doing it, committing to it every day. I love it. I think everybody here loves it too, so I can't wait.
Yeah. And first off, I'll say that my beautiful wife is here, which is really fantastic. So when I think about my beautiful wife and my beautiful children, I go, I want to live in a cool town. I want to live in a place that has fun people, that does cool stuff. I want to work for a company that does cool stuff. I go, so I'm just going to do those things. Like, I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm not going to get everybody's agreement so that we can walk together safely towards it. I'll be like, let's go do some cool stuff. And you have to just be a part of the solution. And again, get everyone to focus on a little bit better tomorrow. If we can all just get a little bit better tomorrow in whatever it is you care about, by the end of a year, we're going to be awesome. We're going to have so many more cool things in that, whatever space that is, go do it. Go do it.
Can we get a big round of applause for Matthew and Kyle? Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Of course, the 419, if you missed any part of the interviews with these guys, you can catch them 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91 in Toledo, Bryan, Defiance, and Lima, 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects Channel 30.4. And of course, thanks to our gracious hosts, Lucas County Economic Development Corporation. How about a big round of applause for Matt, Josh, the entire team?
I believe Matt did say he was buying around after this, which I think is so generous.
Matt
so
Hireman, that's right.
Matt Hireman.
Matt Hireman.
Here for Matt Hireman.
We're here for Matt Hireman. Yep. We're all throwing the money in. He needs a large shirt. Yeah.
And of course, thanks to each and every one of you for being with us tonight. Have a great evening. Enjoy your time. And go get that free drink at the bar.
And thanks to Lucille's, too.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end. It's a story. It's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Take WGTE with you, wherever, whenever, with the newly redesigned WGTE app. Watch our locally produced TV programming and your favorite PBS shows. Listen to FM 91 Live, stream our podcasts, and stay in touch with NPR News. Plus, get access to PBS Kids, great entertainment when you're on the go. All on demand in the palm of your hand. Download the WGTE app on the Apple App Store or Google Play today.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.